Breaking news tonight. Former President Donald Trump has publicly criticized the Super Bowl halftime performance by Puerto Rican artist Bad Bunny, igniting a nationwide discussion that now extends well beyond music and entertainment. Trump's comments, delivered shortly after the Super Bowl broadcast, focused on both the artistic direction of the halftime show and its place on what he described as America's biggest stage. The remarks have drawn responses from political figures, cultural commentators, and members of the entertainment industry, turning a halftime performance into a broader national conversation. Tonight, we examine what happened, what was said, and why this moment has resonated so strongly across the United States. The Super Bowl is not only the championship game of the National Football League, it is also one of the most watched television events in American history. Every year, the halftime show reaches tens of millions of viewers simultaneously, cutting across political affiliations, age groups, and cultural backgrounds. Because of that reach, halftime performances have long carried symbolic weight. Artists who take the stage are not simply performing music. They are participating in a cultural moment shaped by national attention. As a result, reactions to halftime shows often reflect deeper social and political undercurrents. Bad Bunny, born Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, is a Puerto Rican recording artist whose career has reshaped the global music industry. Over the past decade, he has become one of the most commercially successful artists in the world while largely performing in Spanish. His music blends Latin trap, reggaeton, and Caribbean influences, and his public persona is closely tied to Puerto Rican identity. The NFL's decision to select Bad Bunny as the Super Bowl halftime headliner represented a clear acknowledgement of shifting demographics and listening habits in the United States. It also marked a departure from previous halftime traditions dominated by English-language pop and rock artists. The halftime performance featured multiple songs from Bad Bunny's catalog, delivered with choreography and visuals inspired by Caribbean and Latin American culture. All lyrics were performed in Spanish. The stage design, costuming, and pacing emphasized cultural authenticity rather than universal familiarity. No translations or contextual explanations were offered during the broadcast. For some viewers, the performance represented artistic confidence and cultural visibility. For others, it created distance from what they expected the Super Bowl halftime show to be. Shortly after the broadcast, former President Donald Trump addressed the halftime show in public remarks and online statements. Trump criticized the performance, describing it as inappropriate for what he considers a traditionally American event. He questioned both the musical style and the use of Spanish, framing his criticism around themes of national identity and cultural representation. Trump's remarks quickly drew attention due to his continued influence within American political discourse. Although no longer in office, Trump remains a central figure whose commentary often shapes public debate. Trump's response did not occur in isolation. Throughout his political career, he has frequently addressed issues related to language, immigration, and cultural change. By criticizing the halftime show, Trump placed the performance within a familiar framework, one that connects entertainment to broader political concerns. Supporters of Trump viewed his comments as a defense of traditional American culture. Critics argued that his remarks dismissed the experiences of millions of Spanish-speaking Americans. The exchange underscored how cultural events increasingly intersect with political identity. Following Trump's comments, responses emerged from multiple directions. Some conservative commentators echoed his concerns, arguing that the halftime show did not reflect the preferences of the core Super Bowl audience. Others defended the NFL's decision, noting that Latino communities make up a significant portion of the American population. Entertainment figures and cultural analysts emphasized that Spanish is the second most spoken language in the United States. Several commentators framed the debate as part of a larger discussion about whose culture is represented on national stages. For many Latino viewers, Bad Bunny's halftime performance carried symbolic significance. It represented visibility on one of the most prominent platforms in American media. Puerto Rico, though not a U.S. state, has deep historical and political ties to the United States, and its residents are American citizens. Supporters of the performance argued that Latin culture is not separate from American culture, but an integral part of it. From this perspective, criticism of the performance was viewed not simply as artistic disagreement, but as cultural exclusion. From a media standpoint, the halftime show and its aftermath generated extensive coverage. News organizations analyzed viewership patterns, audience reactions, and long-term implications for future halftime selections. Music industry analysts noted increased interest in Bad Bunny's catalog following the broadcast. For the NFL, the event reinforced the growing importance of global and multicultural audiences. At the same time, it highlighted the challenges of appealing to a broad and politically divided viewership. This episode illustrates a broader shift in American culture. As the country becomes more diverse, national events increasingly reflect multiple identities and languages. These changes often provoke debate, particularly when they occur on platforms long associated with tradition. The Super Bowl halftime show has become one such platform, a space where entertainment, politics, and culture intersect. The criticism leveled by Donald Trump toward Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime performance has transformed a musical event into a national discussion. At its core, the debate is not solely about music. It is about representation, identity, and how Americans define their shared cultural spaces. As the United States continues to evolve, moments like this will likely become more frequent and more consequential. This was not just a halftime show. It was a reflection of a country in conversation with itself.